The 80s were the wildest musical decade in human history. There was an insane level of diversity when it came to genres, artists, and bands. And all of these genres were pushing themselves to be bigger, better, and over the top, introducing crazy hairstyles and clothing that made them look like crazy scientists experimenting with synth beats.
It's not makeup and it's not the way that you dance. I never thought I'd meet a girl like you.
But none of them were as wild as heavy metal, and especially hair metal. It ruled the 80s and dominated the entire decade because of its wild and outrageous attitude, behavior, and sound.
It sucks shit! Heavy metal rules! Heavy metal rules! All that punk shit sucks. It doesn't belong in this world. It belongs on fucking Mars, man. What the hell is punk shit? And Madonna can go to hell as far as I'm concerned.
It was the greatest decade for metal music and a time when heavy metal was still relevant and evolving. I mean, it was really everywhere, even constantly talked about on the news by politicians or various activists trying to ban it, such as radical Christians thinking metal was devil's music.
We're holding them responsible for encouraging kids to do violent acts against themselves.
But unlike most other heavy metal subgenres, hair metal was different in major ways. It tried to be as offensive as possible, it tried to push the limits when it came to crazy instrumental compositions and stage antics.
The outrageous edge of rock and roll has shifted its focus from Elvis's pelvis to the saw protruding from Blackie Lawless's codpiece on a Wasp album.
I got this glint in my eye whenever I'm performing, which keeps people off balance where they're asking, is he or isn't he serious about this? Those people have obviously never seen that glint. I mean, how can any grown man walk around with a 12-inch saw blade between his legs and take that seriously?
One of its defining features was its look and presentation. The way these bands carried themselves and the way they dressed played a major role in their appeal and even the way the music sounded. Just by listening to most hair bands, you can already imagine how they looked.
There's one soft drink with a taste so electrifying, it's pure rock and roll. Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
They were full of long hair, sticky with loads of hairspray, makeup, colorful clothes, and a smell that was a mix between women, cigarettes, and bottles of whiskey. And this image wasn't just for PR purposes or attention. The music and their real-life behavior often reflected this look and party attitude. Kiss is a great example because these guys were already doing it for almost a decade before hair metal blew up. Kiss was massive in the 70s and they had a huge impact on the genre, not to mention their strong influence on Motley Crue, who cite them as one of their biggest influences.
Kiss smashes, thrashes, and hits. Your Kiss collection isn't complete without smashes, thrashes, and hits. 13 rockers, remixed and remastered, plus 2 new tracks produced by Paul Stanley. Don't miss smashes, thrashes, and hits.
While Kiss didn't invent glam metal, they were by far the most influential and impactful glam band, even outperforming and outshining musicians such as the New York Dolls or T-Rex.
Best believe I'm in love, L-U-V. I always saw you just before the dawn, and I'm looking for a kiss.
Which was mainly because Kiss knew how to market themselves and make a lasting impression. Their shows were unforgettable, with lots of energy that perfectly matched their demonic and alien-like outfits. And it's easy to see why they had such a strong impact on hair metal and hair metal bands.
Asylum, the new Kiss album. Accept no imitations.
Available at all Tape World and Record Town locations for $6.99.
Yes, the Paul Stanley workout tape for dirty minds and clean bodies. I will show you how to get the body you always wanted and the woman it belongs to. Yes, the Paul Stanley exercise tape. Join me, won't you?
The Paul Stanley workout tape, available where better videos are sold.
Because a muscle is a terrible thing to waste.
Because they were all about partying, getting laid, and having a good time. The songs, aside from power ballads, were usually uplifting and made to get you head banging or dancing. It wasn't like grunge, for example, where bands had a habit of writing about dark and depressing subject matter all the time, which in my opinion is also why it's more fun to listen to something like Bon Jovi or Motley Crue rather than Nirvana. As amazing and legendary as Nirvana is, because there's only a handful of times that you can listen to songs that sound dark and hopeless. Bon Jovi, on the other hand, was made to be listened to on repeat all the time.
I'm John Bon Jovi, and I've been given a script to talk to you about drugs, rock and roll, having fun, a good time, and all that good stuff. Well, I'll tell you what, drugs is not a part of my everyday routine. It's not everyday fun. It's not good for you. All right, so listen, think twice before you do drugs, because there ain't no winners out there doing it.
On the street where you live, girls talk about the social lives. All your life, all your past, when's your daddy gonna talk to you? Oh, she's a little runaway. Tina works the diner all day. We gotta hold on to what we've got. Oh, give me all my prayer.
Which was the case with most hair metal songs. Their whole idea was to be as pleasant to listen to as possible, and interestingly enough, the lyrics often didn't play a big role. A song could have highly questionable lyrics such as Winger 17, but still be played by major radio or TV stations due to its catchy sound.
Just when I thought she was coming to my door, she said, I'm only 17. I'll show you love like you've never seen.
Which is not to say that there was no controversy around such songs or that these bands didn't put any effort into the lyrics. There was, and they did, at least the major bands.
Yeah, I'm on acid. That's where I am.
Is that alright? Is that what kind of drugs you're doing?
Yeah, drug, fucking hair, everything.
Beer.
Cocaine, man.
Alright, so you guys like Priest, right?
Yeah.
I mean, alright. How about Dawkins? How's anybody feel about it?
Dawkins.
Metal would not be what it is today without Priest.
Are they really about the best?
Yeah.
I mean, they're better. What other
They're
shows
better
have you
ones.
seen here?
But Metallica.
We're going to Ocean
legalize
City.
drugs.
After this, we are headed to Ocean
Hey,
City
man.
to party more.
They should legalize drugs. That is a fact.
World Tour 85. August 7th at Pittsburgh Civic Arena. Get your leather together.
Motley Crue, for example, was constantly surrounded by media controversy either due to their reckless and out-of-control behavior or due to their music being written in, at least at the time, highly offensive and sexual ways.
JJ with the music news for you. Motley Crue has just entered the top 10 for the first time with their latest album, Theater of Pain. The first single off of that album was the Crue's interpretation of Brownsville Station's Smoking in the Boys' Room.
Smoking in the boys' room. And teachers, don't you feel me? Up with your rule. Clean, I'm alive tonight. Out in the streets again.
It would be unfair to say that hair metal was very superficial and had no substance to it, or that these artists were not capable of writing amazing and even deep lyrics. They were, and some of these people were extremely talented and wrote some of the most iconic songs ever made. Songs that are still played on the radio to this very day, not to mention the recent resurgence of the entire genre thanks to social media and sites such as YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Hungry for Rat? Dig into their new album, Invasion of Your Privacy, featuring the hit single Lay It Down.
You know you really want to lay it down.
And feast your eyes on Rat the Video, featuring Lay It Down plus 4 other Rat classics.
Round and round, what comes around.
Satisfy your craving for Rat with their new album, Invasion of Your Privacy, and Rat the Video. You'll never go hungry again.
On a certain level, it was superficial in the sense that image and looks played a huge role, not just talent. A lot of these bands would straight up refuse certain people from joining if they didn't have the looks they were going for. But that's just one of the reasons why the genre is so great. These aren't just regular musicians, they are performers.
waking up from this nightmare. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 3, Dream Warriors.
When you went to see Motley Crue, Twisted Sister, Rat or Quiet Riot for example, you knew that, besides some amazing music, you were about to see a wild show. These guys knew how to have fun, and they also didn't take themselves too seriously. They made music because it was fun and because they wanted to have a good time.
Hi, this is Paul Stanley, and guess who I'm spending tonight with? I'm spending tonight with you. I'm gonna have videos from Kiss, Scorpions, Iron Maiden new video, Motley Crue, what more could you want? On MTV's Heavy Metal Mania. I'm hosting with all my girlfriends, and we're coming looking for you. 10 p.m., 9 Central. Be there.
Hair metal is one of the most interesting subgenres of heavy metal because of its diversity and willingness to evolve and experiment. People these days don't really understand just how complex hair metal could be. Many view it as a joke or like a bad decade in music, despite the fact that hair bands sold more records than most other artists at the time. I mean, Quiet Riot literally beat down Michael Jackson's Thriller and took the first spot on the Billboard charts instead, which is wild to think about considering just how massive the Thriller album was. The fact that a heavy metal band overtook it was a huge deal at the time, and it still is a big deal and one of the reasons why Metal Health is such a legendary album. Hair metal had a lot of different sides, and one thing people don't understand is that to be a glam rock band, you didn't necessarily have to look like Motley Crue or Twisted Sister. Not all of them had tons of makeup or wore spandex. Sure, most of them did have a style that usually did not reflect how they dressed outside of music videos or on the stage, which is something that made Metallica so popular because they dressed authentically and like themselves.
They're just like us. They party. Everything. They turn it up. They crank up the volume.
It's different. It's great. Kill 'em all. That album is the best. The lightning is the best.
You see, there's only one thrash band around that I know of, and that's Metallica. We're playing tonight at 7:30, and I suggest that everybody gets down here right now and see the best band in the United States of America!
But even Twisted Sister or Motley Crue did not constantly run around in makeup. Especially towards the later half of the 80s, a lot of these bands switched to wearing denim and boots, much closer to their roots that actually came from the new wave of British heavy metal, a genre that heavily influenced 80s heavy metal and hair metal.
To the door, loving till the morning. I'm gone, I'm gone.
Their drums bang with with power. Their guitars shatter your senses. Metal Maniacs, your albums arrive. Masters of Metal with Rush, Dokken, Van Halen, and Kiss. Rainbow, Crocus, and hard rockin' Iron Maiden. Masters of Metal. It'll leave you screaming for more at a store near you.
You can't stop rock and roll with steam and flow, but never to be caught. Cold as ice, hard as stone. All hell's breaking loose. It's a showdown in a no man's land. Baby, cross my wire. Overload my circuit.
The 80s were a great time for music and especially heavy metal. There was so much diversity when it came to bands and subgenres that it really wasn't hard to find a great new band. Hair metal in particular was everywhere towards the end of the decade. It ruled the charts, the news, MTV and the radio, and even lived rent-free in the minds of conservative Christians trying to ban this evil devil's music. These guys were constantly competing with each other, which led to some iconic records, and it also brought about the era of MTV's Heavy Metal Mania and Headbangers Ball.
Again, fish. Fish. MTV. Fish.
One day when I was watching MTV, I decided to count all the exclusive videos by pulling out a hair for every one I saw. Pretty dumb, huh?
Hi, my name is Dave. I used to be a jerk, and then I got MTV. I watch 3 times a day, and now I'm a wonderful person. Just hit the switch and you're at MTV.
Should've known better, should've seen right through. She said you just got lucky. I believe your deadly lies. She's my cherry pie. Wow! And swinging on the front porch, swinging on the lawn. Cool drink of water, such a sweet surprise.
Friday night, Motley Crue may have a new, clean, sober image, but they still rock the charts with Dr. Feelgood on Night Track's Power Hits. Then on Nightflix, Boy Meets Girl, Boy Falls for Girl, Boy's Computer Tries to Stop It, Electric Dreams. It all begins at 11:20 Eastern on TBS Friday night.